Hi, my dear children, students, parents, and all viewers. A very good morning to you all. Welcome back to my channel. Your channel. Hey, Kalpana ma'am. Today I've come up with a story. Yeah, it's story number 5. Don't get confused. Again, I would like to repeat you what all things. How come this is number 5? The very first story was Taro's reward. Second story was how the dog found himself a new master. And third was the shepherd's treasure. Fourth was the mango story. Yeah. And this is the fifth one, right? Okay. So let's go ahead. But again, same thing. For everyone, it's a story. And for grade 6 CBSE syllabus, it's a supplementary reader. That's the lesson. Okay. Okay, dear. So the name of the story is The Old Clock Shop. Okay. Let's go ahead. Children, this story is, the name itself says the old clock shop. So the owner of the shop is Mr. Ray. Can you see the old man there? Yeah. The unique thing about him is he's not only old, but in spite of being old, he's also deaf. He's been specified to be deaf in the chapter. Okay. And two people you see, these two actually, see in the shop when someone comes, that person is a customer, right? Isn't it? But someone, unless until the person walks inside the shop, that is when you call that person as your customer, right? Only then he'll be called as a customer. If it's outside the shop, no, he's no way. You can't call that person, you can't address that person as a customer. So this is the customer. Can you see? And this person, these two people have come together, okay? And he's been specified at the age of, say, he's been mentioned to be in his 50s, and this fellow, he has been addressed to be in his 20s. So that's why they compared the age of both of these. That's why it's been told, it's been written as older man. Actually, if you see, Mr. Ray is old, but comparison is between these two people. Okay, and actually these two are partners. They've come as a team. So once we read the lesson, we'll get to know. Okay. Yeah. So this story is about, like, it was a Christmas evening, dear. Okay. A day before Christmas is called Christmas Eve. Okay. So Mr. Ray was, he is the owner of the clock shop. Who? Mr. Ray. Okay. So he actually had a very bad experience. So he is actually sharing his experience on the Christmas Eve. That's what it's all about. Okay. So let's go and see in detail. Yeah. See, this story talks about Mr. Ray. Who's Mr. Ray? Mr. Ray is the old clock shop owner. Okay. Mr. Ray's experience on a Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve means a day before Christmas. Okay. With an odd customer. With an odd customer. Not customers, dear. Customer. Okay. And how he came out of the situation. Customer coming out of the situation doesn't match, right? It will match if you focus at the picture here. See, can you see see which color is said to be danger? Red. Can you see something in red? What's written? What's been highlighted? Gun, G-U-N, gun. See, the older person who's already a customer, he's inside the shop, he's having a gun in his pocket. So that signifies a danger, right? That means it actually shows that he has not come with a good intention. He's not a normal buyer. Okay, that's what it says. So out of this danger situation, how he came out, that's what is the story all about. Now you got connected here. See, before going ahead with the story, I want you to get friendly with the words. Okay, the new words. Christmas Eve means a day before Christmas. Okay, and approach. Approach means to go near a person and say something. To approach a person. Okay, and mocking smile. Mocking means funny. Mocking smile means giving a smile with a funny look. If anyone looks at us and smiles in a funny way, we can make out this is not a genuine smile. This is a teasing, funny smile, right? Okay, then comes cruel. Cruel means causing physical or mental pain. That's called as hurting someone physically or mentally is called is called being cruel by nature. Okay, only a cruel person can do that. Good-hearted people will never think of harming anyone either physically or mentally. Okay. Next is pawnbroker. This is a very important word. Pawnbroker. Who's a pawnbroker, dear? A person who lends money. Lends money means who gives money, okay, on security of some item. That means I'll give you, but the give and take policy, dear. I'll give you what you need. You have come for money, right? I'll give you money, but in return of that, what you'll give me? We should have something of that worth to get the money, dear. Okay. So you can't say take my shirt. That's not to be that pawnbroker won't accept that. There should be something valuable here. Either it should be a house, it should be a vehicle, or it should be a gold, right? Or any valuable thing here. Okay, or a land. Okay, so according to that, can you take your house and give it to the person? No, you can't, right? So what he actually keeps as a security is the papers, the originals papers, the originals. Okay, the original documents, he'll keep it as a security, and then he'll give the money. He knows to take this, he'll definitely come back. Got it? So whatever he'll decide, the amount that he'll decide, the pawnbroker is the one who will decide and who will let you know how much money he can give for that. Whatever the worth is, will he give full worth? No. He'll give less money out of that. Got it? Got it? And so that's what. So what does it say? A person who lends money on security of some item, charging on a certain, okay, the money that he'll give, it will have terms and conditions. See, I'm giving you this money. For 3 months, you have to pay me the interest. After 3 months, the interest will increase. So ultimately, if you want your stuff, you have to pay the interest also, you have to pay the full token amount also. Then you get your thing back. All terms and conditions he'll speak. Okay. What is that? Who does that? Pawnbroker. But I told you this pawnbroker word is very important. Let me tell you in what connection it is important. See, in pawnbroker thing, what happens is he actually decides how much money to lend you, how much money to give to the customer. But when it comes to what you call Mr. Ray, he's also he has actually introduced a loan system wherein he doesn't take valuables, dear. What shop is that? It's a watch shop, it's a clock shop, right? Isn't it? So he'll exchange things in connection. He will exchange either a clock or a watch. Got it? So what he'll do, but the difference between pawnbroker and Mr. Ray is pawnbroker will decide how much amount to give you, how much amount you can get for that particular valuable as that you have given him to as a security. But Mr. Ray, how different he was, he used to ask the customer, what are you expecting? How much are you expecting for this? Right? Then whatever the person used to say, he used to give a little bit extra of that. That shows that he was very kind nature. His main intention, his main motto was to help people, bring them out of their awkward situation, their what do you call it? I mean, their situation, their troublesome situation. Okay, that was his only intention. Okay, striking means making a strong impression. Okay, an idea. Okay, timepieces, instrument in which you watch the time. It could be mobile, it could be a mobile also. Mobile also we watch the time. But here we are connecting to the clock shop. So clock and watch. Okay, next, goodwill. Goodwill means helping intention. Okay, feeling of helping others. Okay, feeling towards others which carries kindness. Okay, accept means whatever is being given to you, whatever is told, you agree to that. That's called accept. Okay, let's get going. See, Mr. Ray's shop was located at what? Sunderland. What's Sunderland? Where was the shop located? See, dear, I never make question answers for none of my stories, dear. Why? Because the lesson, please, while reading the lesson itself, from where the questions have been asked here? Questions have been asked from the lesson, from the story, right? If you focus into that very carefully, you should be ready with ask anything. I know I can answer. So focus, listening skills, observation skills. when the lesson or story starts, every single line will give a bit of information about that particular sentence. Every sentence will give you some of the other information, so you need to be focused in listening. Okay, see, Mr. Ray's shop was located at Salt Lake City, USA. See, it's you who have to come up with the question, dear. What does it say? It says, where was Mr. Ray's shop located? It was located at, yes, Salt Lake City, USA. Good. Then, okay, why you want to leave anyone else to ask you the question? You should be ready with everything. Okay. See, the winter has been described as thick white sheet of snow. Thick white sheet of snow means what? Which season? Can it be summer? No. It is a winter season. It talks about winter season. It says that winter season the climate will be hot, unbearably hot, or it will be chill enough. Yeah, it will be chill enough, right? So how the winter has been described? It's described as thick white sheet of snow. That means winter. Okay, that's how it's been. See, this is Lake City, Salt Lake City of USA. And this is Mr. Ray. Okay. Okay. See, Mr. Ray was an old clock shop owner, as I've already told. Being old clock shop owner, how is he physically? He's old. Okay. He was also deaf. He was old also, he was deaf also, he cannot hear. So he used to communicate with his customers through notepad. See dear, in the lesson, in the story, he is using, for communication, he's using notepad. It's not mentioned that he can speak. It's not that he speaks and reply he asks you to write in the notepad. No. He doesn't speak at all. So even though it's mentioned deaf, but still he doesn't speak. Okay? Okay. Can you see the notepad here? In the notepad, he used to write and he used to communicate with his customers. Okay? What was his job profile? What he actually used to do in the shop? He used to sell, repair, and give money to the needy people by pledging their watches or clocks. Okay, dear? Got it? He used to repair the watches, he used to repair the clocks, and he used to sell them too. Next, each customer is different from each other. You all agree? You all agree? All 5 fingers are not same, right? Isn't it? The same way each person is different. So the customer who comes inside the shop, the person who comes inside the shop becomes a customer. So each customer is different, right? Okay. Some came to his shop to get their watches repaired. Some people go to the watch shop for what? Watch is not working. Clock is not working. It's repaired. So they go and give it to the shop and get it mended. Okay. And some go to his shop for what? For pledging their watches or clocks. In turn, they used to take money. Okay. And why they are able to do that? Because he has introduced a loan system. Okay. So he also sold clocks and watches to you. Okay. 3 things he used to do: repair, sell, and pledge, and give money. Okay. He knew and always understood their needs. I told you why he introduced that system, because he wanted to help the poor and needy people. Okay. And was good in reading his customers' mind. Got it? He can actually make out that how desperate the customer is, how tense the customer is. And accordingly, he used to help his customers. Okay. Next. His only motive of can you see the loan board here? You can see the loan board, right? So the loan board, the main motive of introducing the loan board was to help the needy people. Okay. So he always used to ask the customer. Didn't I tell you? Pawnbroker, when I was explaining, didn't I tell you what is pawnbroker and what is the difference between the pawnbroker? Pawnbroker also will give money by keeping your valuables. But here, how different he is. But there, pawnbroker will decide how much to give you. He'll say, this is the amount I can give you. If you want, you pledge your stuff and you can take the money. If not, please get going. You're most welcome. Take your things. I don't need yours. That's what that's what he'll say. But when it came to Mr. Ray, he was totally different. He used to ask the customer, what are you expecting the amount? What amount are you expecting for this particular watch or a clock? Okay. See, he used to ask the customers what amount are they expecting for their pledged watch or clock to be pledged. Okay, and every time he gave them the higher amount above their expectation. Why? Only he never thought whatever profit I made, everything will go off for toss. He never thought profit and loss. No. His main motive was to help people. Okay. On a Christmas Eve, Mr. Ray's shop's lights were on. What does sentence say? Every sentence will carry an answer to you, and you have to ask question. See, on Christmas Eve, Mr. Ray's shops were on. Because why the lights were on? It was a winter time, and if being old, he should be safe. He should go home early, but still his shop's lights were on. Why? Because he was working on an old clock shop that he had sold that day. That shows why his shop lights were on, because he was working on an old clock that he has sold that day. That means it shows that it signifies that he was a very good salesman. He was a very good owner who always believed in keeping a secondary thing of that. Got it? Secondary thing of that, he should have a sample piece. Okay, there is a thing called word of mouth. A person who has taken the clock, maybe someone might like that. They might think that, oh my God, for my wall color, this particular clock will go very well. So he might ask, I want the same color. I'm actually looking for the same color because the background goes very well on will go very well on this particular clock. So he might ask, and there are possibilities that customer might come back asking for the same clock. So he believed in keeping a sample of each. And since that was the last piece, it got sold. So he wanted to prepare one more, and he was just working over it. Okay. Mr. Ray was about to close his shop. What he did, let's see. He just got up towards his interior room. See, dear, we all know there's a dark room where definitely in watch clocks, if you repair shop, if you see, they'll have a small cabinet. I mean, they'll have a small cabinet sort of room, which will be very dark, and there they'll put one small mirror. Okay, through lens they will watch, because the watch parts are very, very delicate and very minute here, right? So they actually have a working play area. Okay, so that is how they go and utilize that area to work on clocks and shops and the watches. Okay. So what he was about to get inside the room and lock that room also. Okay, he'll keep everything. See, all your stuff which is ready, what you do, if something is ready, you keep it inside your room, right? Isn't it? So he just got up to get inside the room. When he got up, all of a sudden he felt a chill breeze on his ears. And then that made him see dear, what was the climate? What was the season? It was winter season. And what was mentioned? It was mentioned as thick snow. So automatically the shop door opens. You will get to know. I mean, you will feel the chill breeze coming in, right? Isn't it? It's natural. So the moment he got up, all of a sudden chill breeze hit his ears or face, and that is when he turned. Oh my God, someone is there on the door. He guessed, and what he saw two people. Again, focus, listening skills, observation skills here. How many people he saw? He saw two people, and he noticed a strange thing. See, he noticed a strange thing. What was the strange thing? Among the two people, one person came inside. He walked inside the clock room, inside the shop, and he approached him. He just approached him with an unfriendly look. How did he approach? Unfriendly. Unfriendly means, see, when you go to a shop, you go with a smile on your face, and with a normal tone you talk to a person. It could be a query, it could be anything, but you don't increase your pitch or show your anger, or your body language shows anger. This guy was like, he was totally restless. He was not friendly at all. He was like this with an expression of anger. Okay, so that's called unfriendly look. Okay. So he noticed a strange thing. What was the strange thing? Two people were there. Out of that, one was inside, and the other person was still trying to communicate to the person who was already inside. That is the customer. Got it? I did tell you what is the difference between customer and a normal person. One is the owner. The three people here are, one is the owner, other is the customer. The one who has already walked inside the shop is a customer. One is outside the shop is a normal person. Okay? Got it here? See, the person who's out, he should be either walking or he should be looking somewhere else, but he was continuously staring at that guy. Okay, so that made him feel that there's something strange happening. Okay? One remained outside the door and was communicating with the other person. How? By facial expressions. Okay, dear? And one more thing he noticed. What he noticed? That the other person who entered, who had an unfriendly look, and he was very restless. Very restless. See, when you do something wrong, when you plan to do something wrong, you know that's wrong, but still you do, always you'll be in a fear. Oh my God, will things go well? What if I get caught? What if I get caught? So all these things will be fully puzzled up. So that puzzle being the mental state of being puzzled up. The puzzled up state is called it brings you restlessness in you. Okay. So how was he? The moment he entered, he was not casual. He was restless. His one hand was fully inside the pocket and it never came out at all. And he's like thinking, why he's puzzled up? You see what is there inside his pocket? A gun, right? Okay, so now he's like, now shall I start? Should I not waste the time and immediately fire him and threaten him and get the money? That's what he's thinking, right? Isn't it? He's in that mental state. And other mind, his one more sense is saying, no, don't do that. Let me get the signal from the guy who's standing out. Is this the right time? Is the right time? Should I take it out? Should I not? Should I or should I not? So he was in that dilemma. Okay. So that actually gave the feel of restlessness. He could identify the restlessness. When it was like this hand, immediately that is what made the owner to look at his pocket. When he looked at his pocket, it was bulgy and it gave the shape of a gun. So he got alert. That's something strange. Okay. The customer approached the owner with no sign of friendliness. That was unfriendliness. Okay. He was restless by behavior. I explained right now. Okay. Mr. Ray noticed his restlessness with his restless hand, which was inside the pocket. It was bulgy and he could make out that it was giving a shape of a gun. On noticing closely, he realized that it was a gun. In spite of, he's severe. In times when you see or notice something and you realize that, oh, this is danger, you have to come out. Even if it's a dangerous situation, the only motive of yours should be to come out of that. But if you already show that, you scream at that very point, then again you are being trapped in that particular plan of the person who is coming to trap you. So you should be wise enough to know in which situation how one should react. Okay. So even if he was angry and he was scared, he didn't show that expression out. He behaved casually. Okay. In spite of being angry, he controlled his anger. Who? The clock shop owner, Mr. Ray, and acted smartly to come out of the situation. See dear, acting smartly is what? not letting the friend person know what is your mental state. What is the state of your being, you're not supposed to let the friend person know. That means you're already giving a notification to that person that, yeah, I've got to know. Now, the next thing is I'll scream. So do not give the other person to read your mind. Okay, got it? And by your behaving. Okay, let's see what he did, how he dealt. See, Mr. A was deaf. So he mentioned in the same, so he mentioned in the beginning, as mentioned in the beginning, I've already mentioned in the beginning, in spite of being old, he was also deaf. Okay, so he communicated through notepad, right? Okay, as a regular practice, even though he was angry, but still as a regular practice, how he used to deal other customers, that's what is called regular practice. Casually, yeah, what have you come to buy? You want to buy, sell, or go for loan system, or what? That's what he regular normal questions he used to ask, right? So that's called regular practice. Okay, Mr. Ray used the same method. How he used to communicate? Through the notepad. So he moved the notepad towards the customer. Okay, treating him as a normal customer. He treated him as a normal customer, even though he has seen that he has gun and all those stuff. But there's something strange and something danger too, he did notice, but he didn't let the person know anything about the situation at all. He was cool. Okay, and he acted upon it very smartly. Okay, treating him as a normal customer, he forwarded the notepad through his he forwarded a note through the notepad asking him what he was looking for. What are you looking for, sir? Mr. Ray asked, have you come to pick up a clock or a watch? See dear, when people see the loan system, that is when they'll point out and they'll ask, like, yeah, I need this. You don't say, you need money or what? Are you in bad situation? Are you in troublesome situation? You need money? Okay, then I have the pledge system. You don't say that. So when customer walk inside your shop, you ask them, what are the things you would like to buy? You would like to go for a clock or a watch. You will never ask, have you come to pledge the watch? You don't. Customer will come up with that particular thing. Got it? Understood, dear? Next. Though he very clearly understood the dangerous situation, yeah, still he was smart enough to stay cool. How he was? He was cool. He controlled his feelings. Okay? He didn't let his feelings overcome his behavior. Okay? The moment the customer noticed this, what he noticed? Moving the notepad towards him with the note. Who did that? Mr. Ray. Why? Because that was his regular practice and he was deaf. Okay? The moment he saw this action, that's a weak point to the customer, right? Isn't it? And he came with a wrong intention. Immediately what he did? He signaled. See, a person who knows to signal will be very careful, will be very smart enough. His signals will be very smart. If you want to show someone that he's deaf and dumb, how you'll show? He'll do like this. Can you make out what the person is saying? What the person is saying? Can you make out? If I pull my ears, if I scratch my ears, and if I do like this, and then if I do like this, can you make out? Can you make out? Nope, right? So in this way, he signaled him. And then you say, that he doesn't have, he can't hear, he can't talk. That's how he conveyed the signal to the person who was at the outside the glass door. Okay, got it, dear? Now you got it, right? Okay. The moment the customer realized and noticed that, noticed this, what? The weakness. And realized his weakness of being deaf, he immediately uses sign language. Sign language can be hands also, it can be facial expressions also. It can be facial. That's what just now I did actions, right? In that way. Okay. Towards his friend who was standing outside the door. Okay. The man pointed at the loan board and to change. See here, you actually conveyed the message, but you don't want the owner to be alert that you already conveyed a message to your partner and he's along with you. You don't want the owner to know about your plan. So immediately what, in order to divert the owner's mental state, what he did, attention, what he did, immediately he pointed to his hand toward the loan board and he asked that, toward the loan board, can you see, he's pointing out toward the loan board, okay, and asked how much he would get for his watch. Can you see, there's a watch here, see here, notepad, and then there's a watch. Can you see the watch here? Can you see the watch here? See, there's a watch here. He kept the watch and he said, how much would I get for this watch? Okay. Then Mr. Ray thought, wow, this is the right time. This is a golden moment. He felt the moment to be really golden moment. It was a chance for the owner to escape from the situation. That, see, if a person is showing a watch and asking for money, that means it actually specifies and it actually shows you that the person is in need of money. What is his intention is to take money. And already a person with a gun means, if you don't give, I'll take it forcefully. It's understood. Right? Isn't it? So see, Ray noticed a little shame in his grey eyes looking at him. The watch was nothing special, but it had great powers. Great powers means it was the actual one golden chance for him to escape out of that situation. Rather than a person coming and what you call pointing your neck with the gun, shooting you at the gun point and pointing your neck toward the gun point with the gun point is much better than a person asking and talking casually, and what you need without he expecting you give that, then you're out of the situation, right? That's what he felt. So he felt that particular reason, it was like golden chance, the watch. That's what it says. It was something to exchange a way out of the bad situation. That means I got a golden chance, let me use it. Who thought? Who realized? The owner, Mr. Ray. Yeah. See, the customer showed his watch, for which Ray asked. The moment he showed the watch, what did Ray ask? What did I say? Mr. Ray is totally different from other pawnbrokers. Why? Because here he used to ask the customer, what is your need? How much do you need? How much are you expecting for this particular thing? Right? Isn't it? So he asked how much he was expecting in return cash. How much cash you are expecting? Okay. The customer said, give me the worth of it. Give me the worth of it. And Mr. Ray immediately gave, he pulled his drawer, cash drawer, and he pulled out a $50 note. See, a watch, if a watch is worth $3, $2 or $5, and if you get $50, you're zipped up or not? Aren't you zipped up? Either your 1 6th sense will say, oh, this old man is not only old, he's gone case. Better I take the money and run away immediately. Or he has given me by mistake. By mistake he has given me. That's what you feel. And you feel that you're very lucky, and this very moment you want to remain lucky. For that you just want to escape. That's what you feel. Isn't it? So same way the customer said, what did he say? What did Mr. Ray do? He gave $50 for a watch which wasn't worth for that price at all. Which wasn't worth the worth of the watch. The clock shop owner also knows the worth, and being a clock shop owner, he knows the worth of that, and he's who owed the watch. Who owed the watch? The customer. He has bought the watch, so he knows what price he bought it, right? Isn't it? So he knows what the worth. The customer was very happy. He was very happy. Stayed cool, and with a smile on his face walked out of the shop. And there was no need for him to take something forcefully, dear. Forcefully he didn't want to take anything, because he got something without unexpectedly he got a big amount. Okay. Taking the amount paid, and with a smile on his face walked out of the shop, taking the amount paid by the owner without creating any mess. If he doesn't give this, I'll do this, I'll do that. He came with a big plan here. But without doing anything, he got that and he's like, what? He was surprised. And then he thought that no, there's no need to greet a mess at all. As he shook hands, after getting the money, what he did, he shook hands to the owner, that is Mr. Ray. Okay? And looked at, and when didn't utter a single word, dear. He didn't utter a single word. While shaking hands, Mr. Ray watched closely his eyes, and it actually spoke, thank you. It conveyed the thanks. Witness, he was in need of that. See, dear, when you're in need of something and all of a sudden you get it, you do express that attitude, right? Gratitude, isn't it? Huh? You do express your gratitude towards the thing, and you express your happiness, right? Isn't it? But here, through words, he didn't express, but here from his eyes, Mr. Ray could read that through his eyes. Okay? Okay, they both knew the watch wasn't worth of that amount. Both knew. Okay? Before turning to leave, that means before leaving. See, he is talking to the customer. He has approached the customer. The customer has approached the owner this way. And where is the door? Door is backward. So before turning to leave, that is about to leave. Before turning to leave that shop, the man wrote how they were communicating. Since the owner was communicating through the notepad, so the customer also was communicating through the notepad. Okay. So what he said, he wrote in the notepad. What did he write? Want to know? Yes. See, he wrote, I will be back to pick it up as soon as possible, as soon as I can. What he said? I will be back to pick it up as soon as I can. And then he said, Merry Christmas. What did I say? It was a Christmas Eve. So he wished him for the Christmas and he said, Merry Christmas. Okay. And that's how he walked out. See, the watch was just an ordinary watch. You all agree? Right? But it had power to pull a person out of a bad situation. That was the reason, dear. Because of that only, no physical attack took place. Okay? The old man had got the older man means the customer. The older man, the customer, had got the money he needed without hurting Ray. Did he hurt Ray? Physically hurt Ray? No. Okay, the generous shopkeeper had escaped from the physical injury. The old shopkeeper, he escaped from any of the physical injuries, right? Okay, in this sense, the watch had great powers. It said that the watch has great powers. In what way? To bring him out of a bad situation. Got it? Okay, that's how it has great powers. Okay. So the little story ended in half an hour. The entire session was a half an hour session. Okay, with the clock striking together. The timepieces which had been looking at silently. See dear, we already know one thing, that Mr. Ray was deaf. Mr. Ray was deaf. But still, all the clock which were silent till that moment, all of a sudden he could hear as if all the clocks are ringing. They're ringing. He could feel the sound. That means, see, when you are in a do and die situation, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get caught. And all of a sudden, and you're out of danger. You feel that yay feeling, right? So that is when, at that moment, you can feel your own heartbeat. You can feel, oh my God, good that person did notice me. I'm escaped. You pray within yourself, oh my God, I should not get caught. I should be out of this situation. God help me. And then when it's done, thank God, that cold breath that comes out. That very second, you feel your own heartbeat. So in the same way, that expression, that feeling, the author has tried to explain us in this. Okay. So at that very moment when he felt that now I'm out of the danger, he felt as if all the clocks and clocks are ringing together. Okay, he could feel that. Okay, and their sweet musical message was filled with hope. The timeless message of peace on the earth goodwill towards all was felt by. Let us see the message of peace. I mean, the three people are, all the three people are happy. All the three people are happy. Even why was Ray happy? Because he felt he came out of the situation and he also helped both of them. And why the customer, both the customer and his partner was happy? Because they got the money for which they had come. So ultimately, do you agree? All were in the after the half an hour session, everyone were the state of mind was peaceful. Ray would have walked out of his shop. How? Peacefully. The customer walked out of his shop. How? Peacefully. The person at the shop outside, standing outside the shop, he also walked out. He also accompanied him peacefully. Without any mess, they got the money. Whatever money they would have got, they would have shared. Got it? So this is the end. So this is the end. I hope by now you would have understood. So when you know in and out of the story, it's you have to say, ask anything. I know in and out about the story. That's the reason I don't introduce the question answers. Question answers should. Why are the question answers an exercise given in end of the lesson or a chapter? Why? To test what you understood. What you understood, please pick your heart out. Don't go in YouTube or Google and copy stuff, dear. Please, and try to understand things and speak your heart by your own words, what you have understood. Okay? So by now you would have understood. So how was the story? I hope you would have enjoyed. Have a great time. Bye-bye.